So what I want to now talk about is the node structure. I work primarily on Resolve. I think Resolve is a great platform, a great color corrector with a lot of other accessory. It suits my workflow very well. Resolve is a node structure color corrector. It means you can do a bunch of nodes, connect them together. You can add as you go, you can take them out. And like everybody, when you start to use Resolve, I was just adding nodes as I was going. Until I met a fellow colorist from Germany, Florian, and he did something immediately before even start to color. He put a node structure down. And I asked you why. And he explained it to me, and I see the validity of the method, and I progressively warm up to idea and start to do it. So I use a fixed node structure. That means that before even starting, right after I did the group for the scenes, the same node structure go to the whole movie. Let's start to draw some of it and see what they do. So we have the first node is the base. In the first node, I do exposure, contrast, and white balance. This brings the shot coherent with all the other shots. The second node is my noise reducer or dynamic. Because not every shot needs a noise reducer, I can just repurpose them. Imagine that the subject is going from a bright outdoor inside, and the director of photography tried to chase it, but the light is not quite right. You need to do a dynamic to follow the exposure. I'll put it there. Or a shot was shot really in dark condition. It needs some help with noise reducer. I'll put it there. Then at this point, I branch. And I'm going to show the structure I did for Midway. You have 4 nodes on the top. The first one was for the water. I know that in Midway, it's a battle on the Second World War. Most of the movie is in the bloody water. So you have to control the water to have the visual effect match the plates, to have different light condition match to each other to make it a contiguous, homogeneous scene. So this is a specific node I use for the water. The other 3 nodes are left of the screen, main subject, center of the screen, main subject, right of the screen, main subject. Invariably, there will be a guy that is too bright, or a gal that is too dark, or this particular guy, I don't care, I need to take it out. So those are secondary correction, mostly just exposure and darkening or brightening the subject of interest, referring to screen left, screen center, screen right. In the middle, I have another 4 nodes. The first one was the sky. Same idea. We have a ton of sky. They have to be coherent. So I have a specific node that every time I need to hit a sky, I just put it there. Why they are not one after the other? Because if I can do a key here that is very aggressive, it may mess up my sky key and vice versa. Here we are sourced from the same point after the shot has been balanced. So I have 2 clear points where I can pull a key and they don't interfere to each other. Then I have a logarithmic correction that is literally the Resolve logarithmic tool for extreme highlights and extreme lowlights. This is a trimming pass that I usually do at the back end when the scene is where I want it, and especially the black, sometimes they bounce a little bit, or the highlights white point is not quite right. So I have a node to help me with that. Or when you have a lot of smoke on a scene, the contrast of the scene doesn't quite look right, but you don't want to do a global contrast because it's just a part of, usually the low end of it. I reserve a node for that. Curves. This is usually empty, but hey, it's something that I put there and I keep input it. That particular color red, we want to have it right here, or this particular leaf green, I want to be right there. So it's a node that I use if I have to use secondary curve as secondary. The last one is the skin. I usually never touch the skin because remember I tend to already do the master color correction privileging the subject. So if the skin is not right, if the balance is not right, the problem is not here. The problem is my balance sucks. This is more for, let's say that you have an actress in front of the camera with a very tight close-up and the skin is too ruggedy and they don't want to go in visual effects. Can you help, beautify a little bit? That's what I use it for. On the bottom, in this particular case, there were 5 nodes. Those nodes are for anything goes. Darken the mothership, brighten the low end. Oh, can you put a window on the corner? Can you darken just this side of the frame? So those are freebie. You can do whatever you want with it. All of it go down to a parallel node. Just merge them together again. I have a special node there that I use in case I have to pass a key outside of the corrector. Usually it's empty. It's special cases where you're doing an end crawl. The end crawl has to be over picture. They didn't give me a key. I have to key myself. I'll key it and I can pass the key to the next operator and basically comp together. Or we are in pre-production, they want to see how a green screen works, and I need to quickly do a green screen. The top layer will pass the result of the green screen so I can have the 2 shots independently color correcting. Back here, this looks like nothing like a square. OFX. I have to add camera shake. I have a speck of dust that I need to clean. I have to add a lens effect. So anything that is an effect from Resolve usually, in one particular shot for Astra we use a sapphire because they need heat wave effect, so we put it here. Vignette. Inside, outside. A lot of director of photography love the idea of a soft vignette around it to close in the shot, or when you want to darken a shot, but you don't want to darken the subject, it's very nice and elegant to just darken around it. It feels less stagey and more cinematic. Why not? So I already have them ready. And then we have the last nodes. This one. Scene node. Remembering my idea is you get the scene, you get the hero shot, you color the hero shot, and that becomes the color of the scene. I'll put it right here. That's the first thing I do. I go in a scene. If the shot is completely out of balance, I just balance the shot and give the scene look that I want it. And this particular node will replicate and propagate to the whole scene. So those are, let me put them together, those are trim nodes. I use those nodes for trimming. The second thing is the DP node, director of photography node. I say, yes, I did the scene, but the director of photography say, oh, I want everything a little bit brighter and yellower. Sure, put it here, propagate on everything, hit play, you're done. The idea is that because all these trim nodes are at the back end of everything you did, it will not break any of your key, it will not break any of your balance, it will not break any of your curve you're trying to do. you can do a pretty heavy correction here and nothing change on all the decisions you took before. The last node is the Hail Mary. He is the guy that comes at the last second, usually a producer, and say, I want everything brighter. And you want to, but you can't. So you need to be able to see this whole scene, brighter, darker, whatever. For the Green Book, we did a full pass, me and Sean, the director of photography, and we kept it moody, way moody than what you saw in the theater. And the director came in and say, hell no, guys, you're way too dark. I can't see the main actor. The scene should be way more open. We're outside driving. Why is it so dark? No problem. Went to the Hail Mary pass, put on the whole reel. We opened, it was about a third of a stop, hit play, done. It's at the end. You don't break anything in your structure, and you can easily review a whole scene with a new pass. Why I don't put this one in the group node? I grouped it. I have a scene. I reserve the group node for the HDR pass later. So for each scene, I can put a proper HDR pass over there. If you overload the group with already a bunch of stuff, then you cannot easily put HDR content there. Not every single movie has an HDR pass, but why not? Do it in this way. You may be in a position where you need the group node to do something, and now you cannot because you already use it. So try to put yourself not in a corner if you don't have to. This one is a special node. It's still a trim pass, but it's a trim pass for camera angle. It happens more often than not that we do a bunch of color correction, and when we're done with the color correction, one camera angle feels brighter, whatever. So I quickly select all the shots from the camera angle, come here, do a trim, propagate. In that way, again, I didn't break anything of my structure, any of the decision we did, but that camera angle now has a trim specifically. To me, a node structure that is fixed, it gives me discipline, so I don't leave underwear around. It gives me a mean to reopen a shot 5 months later, look at what I did, I know exactly why I did what I did. Based on where my correction is, I know it. And most of the time, it's just base correction, it doesn't do more than that. But having the complexity solved at the beginning, it means that later on you don't have to think about it. If you build as you go, and the director of photography says, I want to see everything brighter, where do you put your correction? Oh, you have to make a node and stack it at the back end. Can you ripple? No, because now every shot has a different structure. You can't ripple. It solves complexity, and that's what you want. You want to be able to focus on the image, not focus on the complexity when you color correct with 5 people in the room. And the question is, so what happens when you need to add complexity? Like, okay, I have this particular very difficult key that I have to do. I don't want to mess up this one. Well, Resolve gives you a very intelligent way to do it with a compound node. So I just grab one node, making a compound node. Inside that, I can add as much complexity as I want it. It will not break any of my structure. It will not break any of my trim node. I can have 20 nodes inside here, and it's hidden. The idea is that once you solve that particular complexity in that particular shot, you don't have to touch it again. And if you want to replicate this onto the next shot, you just grab it, drag it to the next shot, you're done. So keep it simple, so you just spend time doing the creative part, instead of, what do I do now that I have 30 nodes here that I don't know which one I have to copy on the next one. The other thing that happened on VFX movie is they send me a bunch of keys. No problem. Drop the key here, attach the key to a node, do your correction, you're done. Again, very flexible, but also very disciplined.